How many people do you know who struggle with their health? Chances are, whether they show it or not, most of the people in your life do. And chances are, you're one of them. Whether you're dealing with anxiety, depression, endometriosis, acne, eczema, autoimmune, thyroid, Lyme, brain fog, fatigue, or any other symptom or condition, you're far from alone. Living with symptoms has become the new normal. So no more guessing games. It's time to get answers. Welcome to the Medical Medium Podcast. I'm Anthony William. We're talking about breaking twigs, a powerful therapy, something that's life-changing and even life-altering in so many ways. A powerful rewiring tool that Spirit of Compassion brought to my attention since I was a child. Now, this spiritual healing therapy I talked about a little bit in one of the spring episodes, but like many of the spiritual tools from Spirit of Compassion, this one deserves its own episode. Get ready and be prepared for this one. Get yourself outside. It's springtime, and you can do this any time of year. It could be spring, winter, fall, summer. Gather up a bunch of tiny twigs. They could be nice and small, thin, anything you think you can break between your fingertips. We're going to talk about how to do this, what the powerful healing mechanisms are within it. Get yourself a spot outside, relax. This powerful healing spiritual tool and meditation is life-changing. I'm so excited. I can't wait for you to experience it. I'm getting myself in a nice, good spot right now, and let's get started. So I'm sitting outside right now, and it's springtime. I just saw a baby squirrel run across the lawn. I hear the birds. Beautiful sounds of spring. So now I'm going to get up and take a walk, and I'm going to look for the right twigs. You don't want the twigs too thick. You don't want them where you can't snap them. You don't want them where it hurts to snap them. You don't want twigs and sticks really tough, really thick, where you're hurting your hands or your wrists, or you're struggling or straining to snap the twigs. It's not about taking big sticks and breaking them in half on your knee, or breaking them in half with all your strength and all your might. That's not what this powerful exercise and healing spiritual tool is. You want to look for the smaller twigs, the ones that are nimble, the ones that can break easy. Sometimes so easy you can snap them with just your thumbnail, just your fingers, because it's not about using strength. It's not about using all your might. It's about barely using any of that at all. So I see some nice twigs now on the ground, right in the grass, and I'm going to just bend over here and pick them up. Now, depending on what kind of trees you have or what kind of shrubbery, because you can get twigs off of shrubbery too, and you're not looking for new ones. You're looking for old ones that have fallen. Maybe last year in the fall they fell. Maybe they fell the year before. Maybe birds dropped them along the way. And keep in mind that you're not trying to snap living, live twigs off of shrubs and bushes and trees. You're looking for twigs of yesteryear, of last year. Twigs that can easily break, and they're scattered about. Sometimes a little hard to find, depending on where you are, and sometimes really easy, and many are there and available. So I'm walking around, and I'm looking for my twigs and sticks. So here I go. Now, some can be really skinny twigs, like really thin, like 1/8 of an inch diameter. If you go into like 1/4 of an inch, 1/2 an inch, keep in mind that you want to make sure you can break them. You want to break them easily with your thumbnails, with your fingers. So I'm grabbing twigs and sticks. If I find something that's 1/2 an inch diameter, I'm making sure that it's dead, and it doesn't have any leftover juice in it from last year or years before. And you can tell, it's a twig, it's going to break pretty easy. Now, you don't have to count how many twigs, you can just get a pile. But often I do like numbers to a certain point, only because Spirit of Compassion gives me inside information, wisdom about numbers that's not out there. Like information about the number 9 that hasn't been ever talked about by numerologists and so forth and spiritualists. But I like to kind of like add up the sticks. So I'm counting them now. I'm on my 5th stick, 6th stick, 7th, 8th stick, 9 twig, 10 twig, 11 twig. And I'm gonna probably land on 18, which is a 9, 1 and 8 or a 9. But like I said before, you can just grab a pile of sticks and twigs and you don't have to have a number associated with any of it. But as I'm going along, I see other twigs I like, so I'm gonna keep on adding them to my bunch of twigs right here. So I got 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Here's a nice one right here, 26. And let me go over here, 27. I'm gonna stop at 27. Once again, I like that number because 2 and 7 are 9. So I'm gonna hold that and I have a nice pile of twigs. Okay, so I'm sitting back down. I got my pile of twigs. I'm getting ready. I'm getting in the frame of mind. I'm listening to the birds and the hawks and the geese. And now I'm gonna get ready and start this powerful transformational tool, this spiritual meditation and therapy. So I'm sitting down in the grass right now, and you can sit anywhere. You could sit on a porch. You could even be inside a house if that's where you have to be, and you have your pile of twigs. I'm in the grass right now. I'm outside, and I have my first twig. Do you have yours? Now what you don't want to do is just snap the twig in half. Instead, you want to snap little pieces off the twig. You can even keep them intact after you snap them. The skin of the twig, the bark, will hold on to them. But you can also separate them as well when you snap them. Each snap can be as close together to the last snap. They can be as close as a 1/4 inch apart, or even less, depending on the twig. And you can do it with your thumbnail. But it's okay if it's not that close and they're a little further apart. 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch, or an inch. That's fine too. So let's start the snapping. Did you hear the sound of my twig snapping or your twig snapping? Did you really listen to the sound? So when we do another one, try to listen to each snap, each click, each break of the twig. So I'm grabbing another twig, and here we go. Now you can do any speed you like. You can do it fast, you can do it slower, you can have the little twig pieces dropping all over the place, and you can go at your own pace. Here's a faster one. So let's talk about for the moment of what it does. Every single break of that twig, every single snap of that twig that you hear enters your consciousness and your subconsciousness. It enters your mind. It enters the soul. The snapping and breaking of twigs has happened thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of times in your life, long before this lifetime. And if your soul is really old, 1,000 years, 2,000 years, 3,000, 4,000 years or more, then you have heard the snapping twigs throughout all those lifetimes for many different reasons and for many different ways. And your soul harbors that information deep within of every single twig that was snapped, whether it was for kindling for firewood, or thousands of years ago you were gathering up sticks to start a fire to keep warm, or maybe it was so many journeys through the woods thousands of years ago And your soul has the information of you stepping on twigs everywhere, and they were breaking and snapping. And maybe it was for protection reasons. You were in a camp a long, long time ago in a past life, or in a village, and there was a campfire, and there was an animal on the outside of the camp walking along, and it stepped on twigs and snapped them. But you've heard that sound before. And maybe in this lifetime you've heard that sound before. But what this therapy does, what this spiritual tool does, is it rewires. It rewires the consciousness, the subconsciousness, the brain. It rewires the soul. It fills the soul. Those sounds of those twigs snapping is a cleansing mechanism, a clearing mechanism that improves mental wellness, mental health, mental sharpness. The combination of feeling the twig in your hand and interacting with nature on this level has imprint removing powers. Imprint from negative experience, imprint from problems that have happened in the past, imprints from all kinds of different betrayal, hardships, and losses. So the next round of twigs we snap, we're going to be thinking about the noises entering into our soul, into our consciousness, into our body, into our physical cells of our body. So let's start with the physical body. Get a twig in your hand and let's start snapping each piece. The noise coming from the broken twig and the little snaps are entering into the cells of your body. There's a frequency to each snap. That sound easily enters into our being, our physical being, our organs, our brain, our liver, our pancreas, our spleen. And each snap of the twig enters into our neurons. Our electrical impulses are picking up on it. They're receiving information. They're sending that information to each neuron throughout the brain. This spiritual therapeutic technique enters into the physical body easily. And you can feel the sound of the twig snapping. Each time you snap each piece, you hear the sound, but you can feel the sound too. And when your fingers are holding it and it's snapping within your fingers, it's also sending a frequency through your hands, through your arms, into your body, all the way through. This is a resetter. It resets whatever's happening in your body physically. Whatever frequency or energy you picked up, you're resetting that energy. You're bringing it back to a natural state. You're using nature to set the frequency, and each snap of each twig sets a new frequency within a cell, helps to reset it. Now, twig snapping is so powerful that even if you're not thinking about anything at all, you're not thinking about frequencies, you're not thinking about the soul, you're not thinking about your physical body, you're just sitting there and you're snapping twigs and doing that alone. It is life-changing, life-altering. So if you're just sitting there in the grass or on the porch and you're not thinking about anything at all, you're just snapping twigs and focused on the twigs themselves and what you're hearing and what you're feeling. If you're somebody that had a hard night, or you had a hard day, or you had a confrontation with someone, or something was just a letdown, or you're just emotionally depressed, sad, maybe feeling a little numb, maybe you're battling some depersonalization, and you sit down and you start snapping these twigs, it can begin to break the triggers. What that means is that whatever triggered you and is still stuck triggering you, and you're still feeling it, or the after effects of a trigger, what the twig snapping does is it breaks that trigger. It's a trigger buster. It breaks the trigger. Triggers tend to stick. They don't go away instantly. You can get triggered by something and then it stays there like a stinger from a bee just staying in the wound. So with each snap of the twig, of the stick, you're snapping a trigger. You're breaking a trigger. Down here on planet Earth, we often get affected by toxic things, not just toxic substances and exposures that are physical toxins, but emotional toxins from other people, from negativity, from stuff they're exuding, they're projecting, and they're releasing into the air around you, releasing to you, directing it to you. It's a very toxic place for many reasons because people are very toxic out there. Twig snapping and breaking can shift the triggers that occur from these toxins, these variety of different toxic energies. Spirit of Compassion always told me that you could use twig snapping as a means of communication. So if you're sitting with someone and you're talking to them, you can snap little twigs while you're talking to them. Now keep in mind, it's not like grabbing big sticks and breaking them while you're with someone, where you're sitting there trying to break a big stick on your knee, or you got a big stick and you're trying to use all your might to break it or snap it. You're taking these little tiny twigs, sometimes so small and so thin, they break with a very light noise. So you can do it with your thumbnail and go across it every 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch while you're communicating with someone, while you're talking to someone. And if you're somebody that's really sensitive, emotionally sensitive, you've been through a lot, this is a way to keep you strong while you're having a conversation with someone. This can help stop a trigger or a trigger reaction while you're listening to what someone has to say. If the person that you're talking to happens to catch on, or they're wondering what you're doing, or they mention it, and they see the little sticks in your hands, or the little twigs, and they're even hearing them snap, because some could be a little louder, then hand them a bunch of twigs. Have them do it too. Offer this technique to them. So while you're having a conversation with them, they're doing it as well. And you'll watch how their demeanor shifts. Maybe even some angst that they have, or anguish, or something that's happening inside of them that you can tell is coming out. You can watch it shift. The communication can change between the both of you. So twig snapping can be done by yourself, but also with others. You can use the breaking of these twigs, the snapping of them, as a communication tool, as a communication device. Even before talking to someone, letting them know what you're doing, preparing for a talk, sitting down alone and snapping twigs before you meet up with someone and you're getting together with someone. Or you're with someone and you start snapping twigs together before you even start communicating or talking. Both you and that other person are just sitting there together, breaking twigs and snapping little twigs. Just hearing someone else snap a twig with you is therapeutic on its own, because you know life-altering things are happening to them. Frequencies are shifting. They're healing in different ways. Their soul is receiving the information. If there's somebody that's really sensitive, they've been through a lot, and they get triggered easy, rightfully so, so many things happen in our lives, something might shift in them as they're breaking the twigs, giving you relief because you know they may be less triggerable. Spirit of Compassion always told me this is highly, extremely therapeutic within families. When a whole family gets together and they sit there and they're all snapping little twigs together while they're quiet, or they're thinking, or talking in between it. And it's even possible to find other people, like-minded people, that would like to do a twig snapping get-together or gathering, where a larger group of people get together and they have their piles of twigs, and everybody's sitting there focused, relaxed, and they're breaking and snapping little twigs. When your mind, body, and soul are being purified from the sounds of the twig snapping, from these sounds of nature running through the body and the consciousness and the subconsciousness, the mind, the emotional centers of the brain, the physical brain, the soul, then words change. Different phrases, different ways of talking and speaking, different lines of communication, different thoughts. Theories can emerge, new understandings, new approaches to things, spiritual revelations, epiphanies. and a way to learn about others and talk to others and find out things about them and yourself that weren't really approachable beforehand. Twig snapping get-togethers are powerful, more powerful than psychedelics, than microdosing, than ayahuasca, psilocybin, frog poison. Much more safer, much more real, and non-damaging and non-toxic. And even recording your twig snapping, actually recording it and playing it back to yourself, is powerful all on its own. Hearing it again, not just the first time when it was happening in your hands and it was vibrating through your body and your bones, but also hearing it back on a recording. So I'm going to gather up a few more twigs right now. I'm picking them up off the ground. I found some really good ones. I like the way they look. I like the way they feel. So this time I'm going to direct these snaps, these twigs, and breaking them and snapping them and directing those sounds to my soul, connecting these sounds to the thousands of times through my past lives that I've actually heard twigs snap and break for all different various reasons and different time periods. And you can do the same. Direct these little twig snaps to your soul. So as you grab your twig and you're getting ready to break it, I'm snapping mine right now, have it directed to your soul. Think about how old your soul is. Think about all the different lifetimes and situations and time periods where you were involved with sticks in some way, whether gathering them up for a fire, clearing a pathway in the woods, throwing a stick to a pet dog that you had 400 years ago, making something decorative and carving sticks for that reason, walking through the woods and the fields, gathering food, gathering herbs and berries, and foraging and stepping on twigs along the way and hearing them break and snap. Directing the twig snaps to your soul isn't hard to do. You don't even have to think about it. It could be as simple as, these are going to my soul, and these sounds are being received by my soul. Now, the speed in which you snap your twigs is up to you. It's whatever comes naturally. It's whatever feels good. Everybody's different, so they're going to handle the twigs differently, break the twigs differently, snap them. Some are going to be faster. Some are going to be slower. Some days you might change it up. I'm going to do it a little quicker right now. Now, after you're done, you can gather up all the little pieces and put them in your hand, or you can leave them about. You can scatter them in the yard or the field or on your porch where you are. You can put them anywhere you want. You can save them, you can put them in a jar and bring them inside the house. I'm going to walk along right now and gather a bunch more. When you're doing it alone, it can be a sacred experience, a powerful, true meditation. Clears the mind, lowers the stress levels, helps heal the soul. I just stumbled across some really nice twigs. Now, if you gather twigs with someone else, someone you care about, a loved one, a friend, a partner, companion, maybe somebody you just met, it can also be a sacred gathering of twigs and a healing experience between whoever you're bringing along, whoever's with you. Together, it can be a powerful, emotional healing technique, just the gathering of the twigs themselves. Wow, just found a whole pile right here. So many to choose from. I'm very excited about this. Hope you've enjoyed this episode. You can go to medicalmedium.com for more free information. You can check out the Medical Medium book series. Many blessings, and God bless you. A sound that's healing, a sound that your soul knows. A sound that your soul heard long, long time ago. 1,000 years ago, you could have been walking through the woods, stepping on sticks, or gathering twigs for a fire. And maybe you were carving a stick to catch a fish, or making a bow and an arrow. And at some point, you stepped on a stick and you heard it snap. And maybe at some point, a long time ago, you liked the sound of a break, the sound of a snap, the sound of a crack. And how many times did you walk on a hill using a stick and even down a path? Breaking sticks is etched in our soul. Snapping twigs is etched in our consciousness. It's part of who we are from a long time ago. Breaking sticks helps us battle the hardships, helps us get through a rough ride on a ship, clears our mind, brings us back in time. And if you're someone that feels like you lost yourself a while ago, you're not sure who you are because it's been that hard. You feel like there's a battle on the inside and life seems difficult on the outside. There's a powerful force between your fingertips, a supernatural sound that redirects and rewires your soul to help keep it round. Sitting in the grass and holding a twig, you're healing yourself. Remember this, don't forget who you are. You're a healing superstar. You're strong. You're not subpar. Your soul has traveled far. You're more than what you think, much more than what you thought. You can heal. It's in your hands. I know you understand.
Original published medical medium information gets stolen and poached by podcast doctors, social media doctors, influencers, and medical clinics. Medical medium information has never yet been proven wrong by medical science and research. Instead, the opposite, only proven right and then taken from medical medium published material and used in the conventional and alternative health communities. Medical medium information continually sets the stage for medical science to understand chronic illness better. If you choose to share or use the original, unique content from the Medical Medium podcast, books, or Medical Medium social media, please cite where this information comes from, so others who see and learn of this information have a chance to know where it all originates, to give them an opportunity to heal, so they don't end up losing years of their life searching for answers like so many have before them. The Medical Medium information here on this podcast doesn't come from broken science, interest groups, medical funding with strings attached, botched research, lobbyists, internal kickbacks, persuaded belief systems, private panels of influencers, health field payoffs, trendy traps, or gathered bits and pieces of gimmicky confusion. Because chronic illness is exploding like never before in our modern day history, it takes a greater force than us down here. It takes a helping hand from above. Medical medium information has street cred. It's an organic movement of countless people around the world healing. More healing stories of real people not being paid to tell their life-changing experiences of rising out of the ashes of sickness and entering into the light of full recovery, getting their lives back and finally healing when nothing else in the world of health could move the needle and get them better. The information on this podcast is not man-made. It comes from above, from a higher source. Whatever you believe in, whether God, the universe, the light, or the creator, or if you believe in nothing at all, that we're just floating through space together on this rock. Know that the information you hear on this podcast is separate from all the other noise out there. It comes from a different place, a pure, untampered with, advanced, clean, uncorrupted, original, primary source, a higher source, spirit of compassion.